Purchase your tracks today.
Welcome back to your favorite sports competitive gambling show. I am your host, Josh Elliott. It's a full house today. Finally, we got a full house, but hey, we're halfway through season 2. It's been a hell of a start so far. The boys came out a little cold, but since week 3, they've been over profiting 28 units, so it's a hell of a comeback there. If you aren't watching this show, then fuck you. No, I'm just kidding. These cappers will continue to battle it out head-to-head to find out who will win the Call Your Shot Championship. The standings are starting to shape up a little bit, but anything can happen here. So strap in. It's going to be a good one. Let's see who's entering in the sports betting arena. Now in the blue corner, adding another degenerate into the mix here. In the last 2 weeks, he's gone 8-0 and almost didn't come out with it with a win. Almost no win there. 2-1 in his last matchups there, profiting 8.86 units. He's probably got some alternate spread or some three-way betting. It's Dylan Smith. What do you got, Dylan? How's it going, Dylan?
Doing good, Josh. 8-0 last 2 weeks, 1-1. Not sure how that works. Almost was 0-1-1. So, yeah, that's, I guess, everybody else. If we're killing it like that, that's good for everybody. But, yeah, another 4-0 week for me here. Pretty easy. 4 more football picks. Should be easy.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, why fix it, right? You're going up in the red corner. Got a win last week just by the skin of his teeth. Now it's time to build on it. He's always got a homer picker, too. I'm pretty sure this week he's got one. Looking to make some picks. It's James Makes Picks. How's it going, James?
What is going on, guys? You know, I know the boys have been hot and the show has been hot, but that's no thanks to me. But I'm trying to turn this around. Last week started with the win. Very close. But, hey, looking to keep it rolling here. And you're right, I do have a homer pick. But what do you expect from JMP?
We always expect a homer pick from you. In the next matchup, don't expect a New England Patriots pick, maybe even a Boston Red Sox pick. They are officially banned from the pick list, I am told. Maybe not Boston, but I just added them. I really hope we get to see a spike play. It's Action Jackson. How's it going, Derek?
What's up, fellas? How we doing tonight? Hopefully we get to improve to 500 after this week. It's been a little bit of a rough showing, but hopefully all 4 of us fellas here tonight provide some winning picks.
I love it. You're due, too. You're due for one here. So you're going up in the blue corner here. He once told me that he has Joe Montana-esque eyes picking games off the board. I'll let you be the judge. All the way from the West Coast, it's Fade, my play. How's it going, Fade?
What's going on? Just wish some of my picks that weren't on this show would make it into the show, because it seems like whatever I do on the show doesn't work out for me, and whatever I do off the show is fantastic. So I'm looking to get back to winning ways here this week.
Yeah, hey, no better time than right now, right? So I have a good feeling about this week. I have a good feeling about everybody. So quick before we get going here, it's a new format, same format. 4 picks, 7 units, most profit wins. They can make a spread pick, money line pick, prop pick, anything that they think will make you money. There are no rules except for one. There are no value greater than plus 300 in American odds. We are also making these picks for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and sometimes Monday. Picks made tonight could potentially have a value change or a line change tomorrow. So, the Rams are favored by 16.5. Tomorrow that could be 17, 18, or the other way around. So make these picks with us tonight. Grab a drink, grab your friend. I don't care. Let's make some picks. Let's have some fun here. So, but quick, before we do get going, I just want to show the standings as they are. As you can see, Source Podcast coming in there at first place with the record of 3-0, 8-4 in picks, profiting 19.35 units. On the show tonight, we got Dylan. He's 9-3 or 2-1 win-loss, 9-3 in picks, plus 885 in units. Then we down at the bottom, closer to the bottom, we got Derek Action Jackson, 1-2 win-loss record, 6-5-1, profiting negative 5.47. Fade here, 1-2, 4-7-1 in picks, negative 4.82. And then James, 1-2 record, 4-8 for picks, negative 832 units. But hey, I've seen crazier things happen. I've seen crazier things happen last year where guys have came back, made playoffs, and gone right to the final. Point in case Source Podcast, ask him about it. But I'm ready to get into some picks here, fellas. I'm going to go to Dylan for his first pick. What do you got for your first one?
My first pick is Carolina Panthers -3. Just 1 unit on this one. They're playing the Giants. The Giants are about as injured as a football team can possibly be. Daniel Jones, people are starting to realize he sucks. He had a couple good weeks to start the year, decent weeks. He sucks. He's now got no receivers to throw to. Running back's injured. Defense isn't great. Carolina, they probably overachieved a little bit early on, but turns out now realize now that his quarterback actually sucks. So he's not going to let him throw anymore. And that O-line they have, they're going to start pounding the ball, running the ball, make sure that the quarterback isn't throwing the ball. I think they're going to win pretty easily now that they're running it and not letting him just throw picks every time he gets a behind center.
I always love your analysis, Dylan. The QB sucks. The O-line sucks. The wide receivers suck. So are you fully out on Daniel Jones? You don't think he's good?
I mean, Daniel Jones is good for like one exciting run per game. He's got a bad arm, doesn't see the field very well. Plus, he added in the fact that all of his like top 4 receivers outside Sterling Shepard are out right now. It's just a bad combination. He has no running back.
I'm pretty sure Sterling
too high to begin with. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Sterling Shepard's in this week, is he not?
Yeah, he's the only one.
Outside. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
You'll see. Actually, I may have a Sterling Shepard play later on in this show.
Yeah.
And it kind of contradicts your play here, but I mean, yeah, all right.
Not really, because you see, Carolina's going to be up by so much so early. Daniel Jones is going to have to try and throw, even though he's bad at it. And there's only one guy on the team to throw to at this point. So.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right, let's keep it moving here. James, what do you got for your first pick?
I'm gonna go to the pitch for my first pick. I like championship, as you guys know. I always bring a couple championship plays. This one's pretty much a value play for me, even though I do like Coventry and their form, especially at home. But I'm taking them on the money line at home. It's -115. They're hosting Derby County. Listen, they're the best home team in the championship. They have not lost this season at home. They are 6-0. They've scored at least 2 goals in their 4 of their last 5 home matches, and Derby County hasn't scored in their last 4 road trips. I'm not saying Derby's they're not bad. They've actually been kind of surprising this season, but it's mainly been at home, and especially on the road, their last 4 trips, they struggled. And the last time Coventry was at home, they laid the smackdown on Fulham, one of the league's best teams. They beat them 4-1. So I really like Coventry's chances to win in front of their home fans. A -115 is pretty good value, so I'll hammer that for 1 unit. That's my first play.
And correct me if I'm wrong, that is a 3-way. I always want to double check.
Yes, the money lines in soccer are all 3 ways. So if it's a draw, it is a loss.
So what would be the value in a because there is a pick'em play, is there not?
There is, but since their money line is -115, their pick'em line's it's probably closer to like -200.
Okay.
The value for pick'em lines are when the books have both teams kind of like you can have a favorite team, but it could still be +160 favored, and the other team could be +180, and then both of their pick'em lines have the value there. But
yeah,
with the way Coventry's been playing at home and the way Derby County plays on the road, I don't even need that draw value. I mean, if Coventry fails to win this one, I mean, I don't even know what else to do. It's just I can't bring winners if this is going to happen all the time. But, hey, they haven't lost at home, and Derby is not a team that's going to go on the road and beat you, especially after they just whooped Fulham. So I'm pretty confident in this one with -115 value here.
Correct me before we move on. Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't you have a Derby pick?
I did. I did catch that one. I can actually find
yeah, I did. +120, I believe it was.
Yeah, those they were at home last week though.
Oh, so they're on the road here. All right, fair enough.
Yes, they're on the road here.
All right, let's move over to Derek now. Derek, what do you got for your first one?
First pick this week is the Ohio State University, minus 21 for 2 units. A lot of chalk, but I think they should absolutely roll here. All signs point towards backup quarterback Jake Tuttle getting a second start in a row for Indiana as Michael Penix Jr. is out for injury. That's not a good sign. This Indiana team has yet to score an offensive touchdown in Big Ten play in 3 games. That's pathetic. I don't care what teams you played. Yes, they have played some of the better teams in the conference, but no offensive touchdown in 180 minutes is absolutely pathetic. People may remember last year's game. It was a nail biter. Ohio State only won by 7 at Indiana, but they were up 35-7 before a second half where Penix and Ty Flyfogle both went off for career games to make it close. I don't think you're going to see that from this offense this time around. Buckeyes, they started the season slow, but they're on an absolute roll right now. CJ Stroud, their freshman quarterback, he seems like he's comfortable in the offense now. He's really getting his groove. Over the last 2 weeks, he's had 10 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So he's clearly trending in the correct direction right now. OSU's defense, they're also coming together right now after a slow start as well. They had to obviously fill in the gaps with some guys leaving for the NFL. So they're starting to come together. Their last 3 opponents, they've held to 94 yards less than their season average. So that's just a sign that shows me that defense trending in the correct direction. OSU does have Penn State on deck, so some may say that it's kind of a tough spot, but they are coming off of a bye. And having already lost a game to Oregon earlier this year, these guys are in must-win situation from here on out to make that college football playoff. So I don't look at this as a look-ahead game for the Buckeyes. And then one last nugget. Indiana 0-5 against the spread against FBS teams this year, and they are failing to cover by about 11 points per game. So odds makers have just been totally wrong on this IU team this season.
Yeah, just look at their Ohio State's last 3 games. Rutgers, Maryland, Akron, winning by at least 40
killing it. Yeah.
Right now, how comparable is Rutgers to Indiana?
I'd say Rutgers is a better team. You've actually seen me. I've bet Rutgers a couple times on this show. To me, Rutgers is just a more complete team than Indiana. Indiana, they were Cinderella last year. Everybody loved them, and they were just ripping off wins, and they weren't expected to do that. But the clock struck midnight on that Cinderella story, and these guys are back to good old Hoosier football. I think Ohio State trending in the right direction. You brought up their past 3 games. They've put up 50 points in each game. Yeah. Last game, I think they scored on their first 9 possessions against Maryland. So they're in just cruise control right now.
Are they ever? Yeah, no doubt. I like that pick. Yeah, Ohio State's been rolling. It's tough to bet against them right now. Let's move over to Fade. What do you got for your first play, my man?
All right, this one we're heading over to League One in England. And I know it seems a little bit out there, but it's Plymouth versus Morecambe. So this bet is essentially saying that Plymouth won't lose and both teams are going to score. Huge odds here, plus 275, because in League One, if there's one thing I know, it's that defense doesn't exist in lower leagues and they hate playing it. But especially with these 2 teams, you do not have defense. I mean, Plymouth on the road in its last 3 games has averaged 4 goals. Meanwhile, Morecambe at home in its last 3 games has averaged over 5 goals. I mean, these are 2 teams that love to play offense. They do not play defense. But Plymouth is definitely the better of the side. That's why they're on the top of the League One table. Meanwhile, Morecambe is further down. They're sitting in the bottom half. So I think that we're going to see a high-flying, high-scoring game. I think this one finishes 3-2, maybe 3-1, but I definitely think both teams get on the score sheet here and Plymouth comes away with it.
So Plymouth is the underdog in this game?
No, so Plymouth is actually favored pretty substantially. But when you add both teams to score, that takes the odds way through the roof because you're saying that not only are they going to win, but they're going to win and the other team is going to score. I'm not even going with that. I'm saying that they aren't going to lose. So they can draw, they can win as long as they don't lose the game. This bet cashes if both teams score.
Wow. Yeah, I love that bet. I will be tailing that. What is that, Saturday or Friday?
It is Saturday. Yes, indeed. Yeah, get that in. Because, I mean, that's one of my, this is one of the great bets in soccer because having both teams score, you have to overcome the way the books see it. You have to overcome the fact that the other team is doing well offensively. So that's why these odds are so big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, fair enough. Plus 245, not plus 275. So
yes, excuse me.
Yeah, no, that's okay. All right, that takes us to the end of round one. Just quickly, if you're wondering if you see that Bet US, where'd it go? It just went away. There it is. You ever see that Bet US logo top left there? That is our major sponsor, Bet US, America's favorite sportsbook. I will drop a link. Go sign up, deposit. On your first deposit, they will match it up to 125% up to $2,500. Or if you want, use the promo code Call Your Shot for that same deposit bonus. I've been using them quite a bit lately here, and I've had nothing but great things to say about them. So America's favorite sportsbook, Bet US. Make sure to check them out. So round two here, what do you got for me, Dylan?
First off, I want to say I hate bad NFL teams. 2 minutes, 37 seconds left on the clock. 3rd and 13, 3 timeouts left for Denver, their defense. Just let's not use a timeout. We don't want the ball back. Let's burn it right down to a 2-minute warning so we can just have 0 points this half. I hate that. I hate bad teams. They do bad things like that. They don't want to score. They don't want the ball because they're just worried they'll be 3 and out. So the less time they have the ball, the better. Anyways.
And that was Dylan's round of the day.
I can't. I need Denver to score in this half. They're not going to because they don't even want the ball.
Anyway, what's your first pick?
First, we got Cincy at Baltimore over 46.5. I really like this play. Baltimore's been playing really well lately. Their defense has been getting better, but they're going to be up against Joe Burrow, who's been absolutely slinging this year. I think he's going to be a very, very good quarterback in the NFL for a long time. They've been putting up a ton of points. They've been at around 30 points every game the Cincy has, and Baltimore's offense is on a roll right now too. So I think this is actually a pretty close game, and I think they're going to be pushing 30 points both teams and should get over that line pretty quickly.
I was kind of thinking the same thing too. Like I would have thought this line would have been closer to 50, would have been more, more of a respectable line. But the 46 is kind of surprising. Yeah, I mean, Baltimore's defense is okay. Do you think they can have a chance at stopping Joey Burrow? Or do you think Joey Burrow is just going to be continuing to sling it?
They'll definitely slow him down a bit. I'm interested to see Marlon Humphreys versus Jamar Chase. I think it's going to be a really good matchup and probably the biggest matchup here of Jamar Chase's young career. But I just don't see them being that strong of a defense right now with some of the injuries they've faced. And I think Cincinnati's a very, very underrated team. The one issue is Baltimore does burn a little bit of clock, but it was just such a value play for me because I do see that line close to 50, 51, somewhere around there. So when you see it at 46 for two teams like this, I think it's a no-brainer pick for me. And I just don't see their defense will be good enough. I do think Baltimore wins this game, but I think worst case scenario, Cincy's putting up points late at the end of the game.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, I even think, you just need basically Cincy to score 3 touchdowns in the game, and I think you got it, right? I think they're going to, or at least give them a little bit of a run earlier on. Maybe get the 2 touchdowns earlier on, and then it's pretty much a lock. So, all right, let's keep her moving to James. James, what do you got for your second pick?
I like that pick, by the way, Dylan. Well, I like what you were saying about Cincy. Anyway, on back to the pitch. One more play in the NFL before I hit the NFL. I like the over 2.5 goals in the Peterborough QPR match, minus 135. It's a 2-unit play for me. This is basically a play on QPR and how they've played on the road, especially. They've went over 2.5 in every road game this season. Matter of fact, they've went over 3.5 in some. They average just north of 4 goals per game, both sides. And they had both teams to score hit in every game. So I don't think they'll have any issue scoring. I think they might get 3 themselves. That's why I like this line. But I do think Peterborough may be able to get one here. QPR's, like I said, both teams score in every road match. faced some pretty tough teams in their last 3 games, though. But they did give up 4 to Fulham, 2 to West Brom, 2 to Bournemouth. 3 really good teams, but I still think Peterborough has a chance to get on the board. But QPR's definitely got 2 in them, maybe even 3 to get this over just by themselves here. I do like them to win too a little bit, but they were a little too juiced, so I went with the over. That's my play for this one. My second play. It's my only 2 in a play, I think. Yep, it's my only 2 in a play. So
Only 2 in, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, my knowledge of English soccer goes as far as Ted Lasso. So explain to me. So this league this was the English, like, in terms of where it is with the English Premier League. Where is this league?
Premier League would be 1.
Yeah.
Championship's 2.
Okay.
And then League 1 is 3, which is
Okay.
confusing. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's
I get
EPL
all the
championship.
deviations.
Yep.
Yeah. So what
And
is
it's,
you think? Sorry, what was that?
I was gonna say it goes even deeper. League 1, League 2. There's a bunch of teams. I mean, there's so many leagues in Europe. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. But you think Peterborough's going to score? You said or win this game?
I think QPR is gonna win, but I do think that Peterborough can find the net just because of how QPR plays. They're gonna score. QPR is gonna score, but they're very aggressive. They like to push. Their back line gets a little aggressive sometimes, and that's why they get beat in the back. And I think Peterborough is capable enough of doing that, even though they're kind of a bottom half team. But they are at home here. And like I said, I mean, they're giving up 4, 2, and 2. QPR did the last 3 road games. Plus, they gave up 3 to Reading 4 games ago on the road. Burrow scored twice on them. So
expect.
I mean, there's chances. Yeah, it just feels like a game that's going to be high flying back and forth. We might even catch this in the first half. Might be one of those kind of games. Like I log into Flash Score in the morning when I wake up, and it's like 2 minutes in, and it's already 1-0. Like I could see that being the case for this one.
All right, fair enough. All right, let's keep her moving over to Derek. Derek, what do you got for your second pick?
Second pick, I am going with. So that's supposed to be Iowa State.
My bad.
-7. That's okay. We're gonna go with the Cyclones. Iowa State -7 for 2 units. This line makes no sense. 7-point chalk, unranked team going against the number 8 team in the country that's undefeated. Why is this spread 7 points? Especially since Oklahoma State has absolutely dominated this series in recent history. Oklahoma State is playing its second game of a back-to-back road game, and they are coming off their biggest win of the season against Texas last week. However, last week in that game against Texas, the Longhorns were up 17-3 late in the second quarter, driving the ball and threw a pick 6 inside the red zone that Oklahoma State returned for 85-yard TD. That completely changed the game. Texas pounds that ball in. Oklahoma State probably folds and loses that game. So that one play really changed the game last week and led to an Oklahoma State victory. Cyclones have kind of been a forgotten team. Preseason, there was a lot of hype. They had 20 returning starters from their bowl team last year. I mean, this was a team people were talking potentially college football playoff. And after 2 early season losses, I feel like the public has kind of forgotten about them a little bit. However, they have kind of turned it around in recent weeks, and they are certainly still alive for a Big 12 championship bid. They do still boast a top 5 defense in the country statistically, and right now their defense is holding teams to 123 yards per game below their average, which is 10th best in the nation. Breece Hall, their stud running back, he also got off to a pretty slow start the first couple of games, but now he's ripped off 4 straight 100-yard rushing games, and 3 of those 4 games have gone over 120. And then ISU, what do we got here? They've lost straight up the last 2 seasons, so I feel like this is a little bit of a payback right here in this game at Ames on Saturday.
See, this is a more surprising line on the other side. I think this should be a closer line, but I mean, I'm just looking at.
Well, it did open 4.5.
Okay,
so I'm not exactly getting the best of the line. I'm getting the absolute worst of the line. But yes, this did open as a 4.5.
All right, so Oklahoma State, top 14 strength schedule, so one of the more tougher schedules they faced. 2 wins versus top 30 teams. Iowa State, 2 losses versus top 30 teams. What do you think about that?
So Iowa State's lost to both of their losses. They outgained their opponent by almost 200 yards in each game. The Baylor game, I believe, was a little bit of bad luck. I didn't see that game, but the Iowa game was a pretty damn good game. It was pretty close, but that was a tough team at Iowa. That's always a tough matchup. It's a rivalry matchup. So, I mean, yeah, they got 2 losses, but it's 2 losses to 2 really good teams. And as I said, Oklahoma State, who's their second top 30 win? I know Texas is obviously got to be one of them. At Boise can't. But like I said, Texas was dominating that game. OSU came from behind. They lucked out by playing a backup quarterback when they played Kansas State. So I just don't put too much stock into Oklahoma State's season so far. I'm not exactly – they could come out and absolutely dominate, but I'm a little bit skeptical that they're a legitimate team at this point.
It would have been Texas and Baylor.
Baylor, okay.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, I might be on the other side of this, but, hey, we'll see what happens. Let's keep her moving to Fade. Fade, what do you got for your second pick?
All right, yeah, for this one, this is going to be NFL on Sunday. I'm glad we already talked about this game because I have a lot of the same points, but it's going to be Cincy over 1.5 field goals. I think this is going to be a higher scoring game, but also we've seen the way that the Ravens are defending at the minute. They're putting a much bigger emphasis on defending the run, making sure that you have to throw it. And we know Joey B, I mean, that's what he does. But the difference is he has so many different weapons. I mean, you have Jamar Chase, you have Tyler Boyd, you have T. Higgins. And then on top of that, Mixon can catch a few balls as well. I think he might be out still, though. But either way, I just think that this is going to be a gunslinger type of game. I think we're going to see a lot of drives down the field. And because of the fact, like I said, that you're seeing the Ravens put an emphasis on stopping the run, I think that when they're in a 3rd and short situation, the Ravens might be able to hold them up, meaning that they have to kick a field goal. And I think that, we're going to see points on the board, but some of them are going to be 3s instead of 7. So, yeah, and going with the Bengals over 1.5 field goals.
This is another one I don't hate at all because, I mean, you get one earlier on in the game or in the first half, and then it honestly comes probably they get one in the 3rd or even the 4th game-winning field goal. So for even money, I like it. But we were just talking about how good Joey's slinging it right now. I mean, do you think Baltimore needs to step up big time this week? Because, I mean, obviously you're going to need the defense when it comes to, red zones and whatnot. So do you think Baltimore's going to need to step up big time?
Yeah, I mean, traditionally, I would say this is a pretty big letdown spot for the Ravens after absolutely just manhandling the Bills. I mean, they didn't let the Bills do anything. But at the same time, I think that they're just a little bit better of a team than I personally gave them credit for. I just think that they're not going to be as good as they were last week, and the Bengals are going to be better than, they've been for the past couple of weeks, at least on defense. But again, I think we're going to see the Ravens put up points. I think we're going to see the Bengals try and catch them through the air. And, I think it's going to come down to a field goal. I think it's going to be a lot closer than the 6.5 point line says.
I agree with you. Yeah, no, I do like that. All right, that brings us to the halfway point of the show, and you know what that means. Brings the player pick of the week when shopping online, www.playergolf.com. Make sure you use promo code BETTHEOVER for 20% off. I'm obviously wearing the hat. I see Dylan's wearing it. I see James is wearing it. Might even wearing the shirt, Never Lay Up. Make sure to just check them out. They're just an awesome company. They got lots of golf accessories, golf wear, and more athletic wear now too. So make sure to check them out. Now the player pick of the week is going to be Purdue to cover the 3 points minus 110 for 2.5 units against Wisconsin. This is a full-on fade Wisconsin, and don't know why books are still favoring them. No idea, because they're horrible. If you look at their games, Michigan was one, and I believe it was Pittsburgh was the other. I can't remember. Both horrible offenses on both of those games specifically. I'd have to go back and look at what their three wins were, but I like Purdue here. I think they're coming off a massive high after beating Iowa in Iowa. I think they cover this easily. I might even sprinkle the money line. I just do not trust Wisconsin. Their defense might be decent, but their offense is just atrocious right now. And this pick is mostly a full fade Wisconsin. And I like Purdue. Purdue's looking pretty decent. They're kind of a surprise so far this season. So give me them to cover that 3. I hope Dylan's here because he's up next. I wonder what he's got for his third pick.
This is where my trend starts. I think I might be doing a lot of this week. I'm gonna go the under in this Atlanta Miami game. There's gonna be quite a few unders. I think I bet this week, which I hate doing because they can get killed so easily. Talk to me about Dallas and New England under last week that should have hit easy, and all of a sudden we get a pick six and a touchdown, 2 plays in a row to kill the under. So that sucked. But this one is Miami. Bad offense, like really bad offense. Atlanta, very mediocre team overall. They've been decent this year, put up some points, but by no means are they going to be putting up a ton of points on a reasonably good defense in Miami. How, in my mind, that this line is more than the Cincy Baltimore line is just it shakes my head at. Like Miami's not going to put up more than 20 points. 21, I guess. Like that's they're maxing out at 21 to 24. Atlanta maybe in the same range. This is, I think, at most a 24-21 game. That doesn't get you to 47. You're not going to see 30-30 or 30-25 in this game. It's just not going to happen. It's another one I'm going to have to not watch, but it'll be bet the under, never look at it all day, look at the end of the day. I was like, yeah, they each got 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals.
So I think the line is where it is because Miami's coming off the London game and Atlanta is coming off a bye. Now the bye, does that worry you a little bit? Because I mean, Matty Ryan might be slinging it after a bye.
Like who's he slinging to? I mean,
Cordell Patterson.
That's their running back. Like, yeah, Cordell's been hot. I think they're gonna get a few points, but like this line, they're worried about Miami coming out of London. Like, what do you think that's going to do for Miami's offense? Tua knows he doesn't even have a job anymore. Like, he's getting replaced by basically someone that's in jail. Hey, Tua. And then the worst part about that is Houston's like, yeah, we don't want Tua. You can send him to like Washington or something. Like, we don't want to. How's that confidence going in his body? Get your like Miami's in shambles. They lost 5 straight. I'm not worried unless somehow Matty Ryan wants to come out and sling for 40, which he's not afraid. He's not afraid to screw me on bets. He's done it historically many, many times. When I need them to win, they don't win. When I need them to lose, they win. So yeah, that's the only concern for me is Matty Ryan. But I don't even think Miami sniffs 20 points, and I don't think Atlanta's offense is that good. This is a game where both teams are going to want to kill the clock. This is Denver versus Cleveland all over again. They want to kill the clock. They don't want the ball.
Josh, I'm glad you brought up this scheduling spot. Do any of you guys find this completely odd that Miami comes home and they don't have that bye after a London game?
Yeah, that was an option.
I think
that was an option.
They optioned it.
No,
yep, they turned it down. Yep,
I was not aware of that because I was going to say this is the first team that I can remember not having the bye directly after
they're
a London
morons.
game.
And Brian Flores said no.
Like, why would you not want to buy? It doesn't make any sense.
He thought it was too early in the year and wanted it late.
Rest late.
Yeah, you're
They
really
want to get rested before they have to lose some more games for a high pick.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like that call at all. Though I just feel like that travel is going to absolutely destroy that team. It takes takes a football team out of their regular weekly rhythm of practices and classwork and shit. Like, I don't know. That's going to be interesting.
That's an odd one for sure. And Cordell Patterson, Dylan, is a wide receiver and running back in fantasy sports. So, fun fact for us.
He's actually
he's
amazing this year. But
yeah,
that's it.
All right, James, what do you got for your third pick? Let's keep her moving.
Man, we got 3 picks in this Baltimore-Cincy game. I'm taking the side, though. I'm taking the Cincinnati team getting 6.5 points, -110, 1 unit. Pretty good value here. I think the Cincinnati team's really underrated. They've been playing really well. Their losses have been by the edge of their seat, and then you got the Ravens who lost to the Lions, but the ref didn't call the delay of game, so they got to try a record-breaking field goal, which they happened to make. I mean, they basically lost to the Lions. They haven't really impressed me most of the games other than versus the Bills. I think the Bills game is more of the aberration than the rest of the season. I think they're kind of regressing here, and I think that's going to come out here against the Bengals. I would even not mind sprinkling the money line here. It's plus 240 or something. I don't know. I really like the Cincy team. I don't really like this Baltimore team. I think that Bills game was maybe kind of fluky, kind of like the Packers Week 1 game. And even if the Ravens do win, like everyone's been saying, it's going to be high scoring and most likely a close game. I think 6.5 is way too much for Cincy. So give me that. They didn't have the player props, so I really wanted Jamar Chase's over. That's who I'll be looking at that this weekend when they drop that. It's hit I've bet it 3 weeks in a row. It's hit every week. So
Really interesting.
yeah.
That's
Yep.
interesting. Now we kind of touched on Baltimore's defense. What do you think about Baltimore's defense? How are they going to be able to stop? Are they going to be able to stop them or no?
I mean, no one has yet. I mean, no one's been able to stop Chase yet, and he's got more than just Chase. I mean, they've been moving the ball pretty well, even when Mixon's kind of limped up and he's not doing a lot. They still got other backs that are doing all right. It's really just a Burrow-led team. I think it's a well-coached team. I think the coach might be a little underrated. He's coming into his own in his third year now.
Yeah.
And I think their defense needs to improve. They've struggled a little bit, but they've had some good games this year too. And it's not like they don't know what they got to do. Baltimore does the same things. I mean, you just got to stop Lamar, which I get is really hard to do. But some teams have done it. I mean, Detroit did it. So if Detroit can do it, I think Cincinnati can figure it out, So I like them getting 6.5. I think the line's a little too big.
I'm actually quite certain after now 3 or 4 weeks divulging that Baltimore and their whole team, actually their whole offense, were hungover. So, I mean, yeah, you never know. Let's move over to Derek for his third pick. What do you got, Derek?
My third pick, I'm going to go with Alabama, minus 25 for 2 units. Another chalky play, but another play where I'm going to pick on a team that has some quarterback health issues going on. So Tennessee, their quarterback, Hendon Hooker, got removed from the game last week, a little bit banged up. And he was not their opening day starter. They went to him in game 2 in relief, and basically that offense completely did a 180 around him. I think he's gone for like 14 touchdown passes and 1 interception so far this year. But anyways, they might be going to Joe Milton, Michigan transfer, who, Dylan alluded earlier in the show to stupid football teams. Well, this is a stupid football player. If you guys didn't see the game last weekend against Ole Miss, 3 seconds left. They're trailing by 6, and he decides to pull the ball down and scramble from the 21-yard line and runs out of bounds at the 10. Like, to end the game. What are you doing? That's just
Really?
Incompetence. But that's who Tennessee is likely going with at quarterback this weekend. He may not be the starter, but I do envision him getting significant time in the game, depending on how significant the Hooker injury is. Anyways, despite who plays quarterback, I see some major troubles for University of Tennessee. They're an up-tempo offense that if that offense does not stay on the field, it's gonna leave their defense out to dry, because Alabama is just cruising right now, throwing up 40, 50 points a game against anybody and everybody. So if Tennessee is having those issues offensively, good luck to the Tennessee defense. They've let everybody score. Bryce Young, quarterback for Alabama, he's having a great freshman year. 24 touchdowns, 3 interceptions on the season. And little Nick Saban nugget, he's 14-0 straight up against Tennessee in his tenure at Alabama, and 10-4 ATS with an average winning margin of 25.7. So that's right on this number. But I see Alabama just cruising again in this game. They've got their 1 loss. They did, after last week's victory, climb back up into that college football ranking. But yeah, this like Ohio State, Alabama has to leave it on the field every single game from here on out to get into that playoff.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is actually a good spot for Bama too, because I mean they're coming off a bye after that loss.
No, they won last week against. They're actually, both teams are heading into a bye after this game.
Oh, are they?
So yeah, last weekend might have felt like a bye because they won 49-9 at Mississippi State. So that is essentially a bye.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I read
they're heading into the bye next weekend, just prior to the LSU game.
Yeah. Now Tennessee proven to basically quit on their teammates as well as their coaches. Point in case last year, I'm pretty sure there was lots of players that wanted to quit. Yeah, this defense, I mean, is not great. Tennessee on the Tennessee side, they're kind of in for kind of a shocker against Bama. Now this is a line though, and I mean, Bama does score lots of points. They don't give a fuck about running up the score or whatever. But this is a line where it's like, you need the pace to continue on. into the third and fourth. Maybe not the fourth, but into the third for sure. Do you have any worries about that pace? Slowing down at all in the second or the third?
No, I don't, because usually Nick Saban kind of keeps his team rolling. It doesn't matter. He never really is one of those coaches that takes his foot off the pedal. I think in this day and age, style points matter when it comes to the voting.
Yep.
So
True,
you got to put those points up. Will he go to backups? Yeah, you might see backups, in the fourth quarter and such, but Alabama's backups would be starters on virtually any team in the country. So you're not really taking a step backwards when you throw in their backups. But preseason, I was not high on this Tennessee team. I actually took their under 6.5 wins. And they have got off to a great start. They've certainly surprised me thus far this season. But yeah, I think if Joe Milton is seeing significant time at quarterback, they're in for a world of hurt on Saturday.
That's actually a good piece of information to know. So let's move it going. Fuck me. Let's moving on to Fade. What do you got, Fade, for your third pick?
All right, this one going back to a team that I've been riding pretty much through the season, but Colorado State. I love them against UNLV. They're just a team that is able to put up points, but also UNLV, their defense is so shaky, but specifically in their secondary, which is where Colorado State, is pretty solid. So I think it's just a matchup, a situational matchup where Colorado State's strengths happen to be UNLV's weaknesses. And also I just don't trust UNLV. I mean, even at home, I just don't think that they're going to be able to put up the points to keep up with this. So I think a field goal getting that, I think they win it by at least a touchdown. So I'm willing to take the 3.
So question for you, Fade. Colorado State? You want it?
Yeah.
Why do I have them coming up playing Utah State tomorrow?
Or excuse me, Utah State. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
I was like, whoa.
I was looking at UNLV against San Jose State. No. Against Utah State. Excuse me, but that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's a Friday night game, in Utah. And I think Colorado State, first of all, they're used to the type of conditions that we're seeing in Utah. So it's not going to be like, some big situation where they're dealing with altitude or the cold. I mean, they're used to that, but also they're just a better team. And we've seen Utah State give up absolute house calls to people. So I'm loving Colorado State. I'll give up the 3 points because I think they win by at least 7.
Yeah. Strength of schedule, not all that great. If you look at some of their wins or their losses, Boise State, they got pumped. Their wins against Air Force, okay, whatever. UNLV, like you said, Washington State, Stony Brook. Not great strength of schedule. So, this Colorado State team, like you said, has been moving, and they look pretty good. So I do like that pick. Let's take it to the last round here, fellas. Let's go to Dylan for his controversial pick here, contradicting pick.
This is not contradicting at all. When a team gets down and is losing, they pass more. I've already discussed the game. The Giants have literally 0 receivers outside of Shepard. Galladay's out. All the guys are out. So that rookie's out, Tony or whatever his name is. Shepard, last game, I think, had 14 targets once Tony went out. So, he'll be peppered with short passes again because Tanner Jones can't pass deep. He's a slot guy. I think he gets over this easy. You can look at his receptions too. They didn't have his line out for his receptions yet, but if it's 4 or even 5, I think I take that easy. I'll probably take it as high as 6, just because I think he gets close to 8 or 9 receptions this game and easily gets his yards. I think Carolina's up pretty much the whole game, and Jones has to pass somebody, and he can't just hand the ball off to Barkley. It's a pretty easy pick, and that's it for my analysis.
And Daniel Jones sucks.
Only pass to the guy closest to him, basically.
Okay, so quick question, and we'll move on quickly here. But are you're just kind of banking on Giants being down in the 4th, and then Shepard's just going to go off for 30, 40 yards?
Not just that. Like you look at last week. I'm just looking it up right now. What was it? 1 second here. Hold it up.
Take your time.
No rush.
Yeah, no rush at all.
Shepard.
So we went
I
for
can't
76
find
last week.
Yeah, and with 10 receptions, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so it just, and I think Jones only had 20 some completions. Like, he's just got no one else to throw to. So I don't think it even matters if they're down. I assume they're going to be down because I picked Carolina. But I think if he's throwing the ball, basically the only person he can throw to is Shepard. I'd be a lot more concerned if Gilmore was in, but Gilmore's not playing yet, and they're not that good in the secondary. So, I just think Jones doesn't have anyone else to throw to at this point. So.
Yeah, I mean, you ain't wrong. But
I'm also you're gonna miss my sign off because I got 2% left on the laptop, so that's it.
All right. Well, you heard it there.
Good luck,
Jeff.
boys.
All right, we'll talk to you later, Dylan. See you later, man.
Boys.
All right, James, what do you got for your fourth pick? What do you got?
Perfect timing on his little battery. This is my homer pick. I didn't want to go with the sides because the Packers. I mean, it's a lot of points. I personally think they do cover, but I'm not gonna take it. It's too big for me. But Devontae Adams over 96.5 receiving yards, -110. This is my big play. It's my max play. Look, this is just basically because it's Devontae Adams, who is the best receiver in the league. There's no argument anymore. He's Aaron Rodgers' favorite target. He's Aaron Rodgers' second favorite target. He's going to get a bunch of targets in this game, just like he does in every game. And Washington's pass defense is the worst in the league, which I was shocked when I saw that. I mean, I watched their game, so I kind of noticed that they weren't as good as I thought they were going to be on defense. But they've given up over 300 passing yards a game this year, 32nd in the league. I mean, now they got to go to Lambeau and try to stop Aaron Rodgers throwing to Devontae. I mean, he's gonna get over this in the first half, and then they're gonna bring in A.J. Dillon in the second half to run the game out. But we'll get at least 100 receiving yards from Tatum this weekend, and that's why it's a max play for me.
So, question for you: we were just talking kind of about pace. This is another one of those lines where if you don't get the yardage in the first or second quarter,
right,
you're kind of in trouble. But,
right.
I mean, it's Devontae Adams. He can spring it for, 40, 50, 60, if not more. But, I mean, do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to go to him early on in the game?
Aaron Rodgers always goes to him early on, late, in the middle of the game, at the end of the game, before the game, while they're warming up. I mean, he throws it. Actually, last week he threw it to Lazard quite a bit, but Devontae still had, I think he had like 90-some yards. So, I mean, he still gets his. He goes to him in the most crucial moments, and there are going to be those. I mean, this Washington team isn't great, but I don't expect the Packers to be blowing them out at halftime. They haven't done that yet this year. They don't do that to teams. The Packers don't. So I don't expect them to have to turn to their running game to run clock out till late third quarter, if ever. I mean, Washington might keep this close. That's why I'm kind of scared of the spread. But one thing I do know is when Rodgers drops back to pass, I mean, it's like 70% chance he's throwing to Devontae. And if it's going to him, I mean, you got 90% chance of a catch. I mean, I used to say he's arguably the best receiver in the league, but I'm done arguing. I'm kind of with him, like you said. I mean, there's no more arguing about it. You just watch him play for the past 3 years, 4 years even. So I think he goes over this in the first half personally. So
I gotta jump in real quick and say, as a guy who had to watch fucking Devontae Adams crumble away, 30 seconds to go lead live from 15 rows back. Yeah, he is the best receiver in the league, man. No question.
I was just about to say, said like a true Green Bay Packers fan, but then you chimed in there, Fade. So yeah, no, tough to argue there.
Not a fan.
Let's go to Derek for his last pick. What do you got, man?
Congrats, fellas. We're all on the same game. I am going 1 unit Baltimore Ravens -6.5. Baltimore might be playing the best football in the game right now, and they're getting little to no hype right now. The talk is all about the Cardinals, the Bills. Hell, Jackson Mahomes is getting more press in the NFL this year than the Ravens. But Ravens defense, and you guys had talked a lot about it earlier this episode, but they have held 3 of their last 4 opponents to their lowest yardage total defensively, the lowest yardage total offensively this year. So that Ravens defense is legit, even with all the injuries and the Matt Judon leaving in free agency. They've been able to piece it together and still get shit done. No doubt, Cincy is off to a great start, and they've already matched last season's win total. But I'm not exactly jumping into being a believer. And I know I talked with you earlier this morning, JMP, that you like that season over total. I'm a little bit more skeptical because I do think their schedule toughens down the stretch. But I'm very curious to see how Cincinnati responds to having a big divisional road game. This is a really big test for them to see if that youthful, energetic team can actually play with some of these big boys that do it year in, year out. Last year, Cincinnati, they did go 0-2 against Baltimore by a combined losing score of 65-6. Granted, one of those games did not have Joe Burrow at quarterback, so take it with a grain of salt, and it was his rookie season, but Baltimore kicked the shit out of them last year. And then there are only 2 NFL teams that are currently allowing more than 9 yards per passing attempt. And those 2 teams are Jacksonville and Detroit, 2 of Cincinnati's wins this year. So, yeah, they're putting up big offensive stats passing. Joe Burrow looks great. Jamar Chase looks great. But 2 of their wins are against the 2 worst teams in the NFL. So how much stock do you want to put into that passing game? Lastly, I'll end it with this. Fade, I did it to you a couple weeks ago, and I apologize, but I've got the system play again, and I'll remind you that system play is a home team playing a divisional opponent the week heading into the bye week.
Oh, yeah.
It now stands at a 38-12 ATS for 76%. 2 weeks ago, there was that loss on the 49ers that I did play and shared that stat.
They should have easily covered that.
They were covering all game, and Trey Lance getting stopped at 4th and goal at the 1 yard line, held the 6-inch yard line.
He crossed the point.
That was the game changer right there. But I'm still sticking with this system. I believe in it. But I do have one more bye week involved system to throw in here. NFL teams playing in their 3rd consecutive home game of a 3-game home game stand, which Baltimore is, and also heading into their bye week, which Baltimore is. They are 11-1 straight up and 10-2 to the number. Give me the Ravens, flock Ravens. Let's go.
I'm surprised there's that big of a sample size of 3 home games in a row heading into a bye. That's crazy.
Damn.
I'm like, fuck it. MNT Stadium's going to be absolutely bumping that for that game.
This is a big game for both teams. I mean, this is first place is on the line. So
now I'm terrified of my Bengals pick.
I expect Baltimore to be up for this game. No doubt Cincinnati's going to be up for this game too, but I'm going to stick with Baltimore here. I love the way they're playing. I mean, last week against the Chargers was probably the most dominant game of football I've seen this year. They beat the hell out of them in all 3 phases of the game. I think they're clicking, and what's scary is they might be peaking right now, which is going to suck for them later down the road. But I really think this Baltimore team is peaking right now.
Yeah, they look good. There's no denying that. This actually might be the first time where all 4 people have came in with a play in the same game, but not had the same play. That's crazy. I just noticed that now, so that's crazy. Fade, bring us home with your last pick.
All right, we are going back to League One in England. I love this play. This is literally a carbon copy of JMP's pick earlier, just a different team. This is going to be Wickham -1 against Crew. I mean, you have Wickham, who are undefeated at home. Not just undefeated, they've won 5 out of 5 games. They've been incredible at home. Meanwhile, you have Crew Alexandria, who have not won on the road yet this season. They've lost 4. They've drawn 3. Wickham is sitting 3rd in the table. Crew, meanwhile, is 2nd from bottom. Wickham has the 3rd most points in the league over the last 8 games. This is just one of those classic, the numbers back it up, the eye test back it up, the stats back it up. Wickham -1 at home against a struggling Crew side, I think is a fantastic look. And just the fact they have not lost at home, I think they're going to want to keep that intact, especially because a win at home means that they could go tops. So they could go top of the table. So I think it means a lot to them. They'll get it done, and they'll do it by margin.
You talked about those 5 games that they've won at home. I'm pretty sure What were the margin of victory on those? Are they by one? Are they more? Are they?
Yeah, so they've had a couple of games where they've just won by the one, so we get that push, which isn't ideal, but I'm loving the form that they're coming into because their last game at home against a Gillingham side Gillingham side, who's very, very similar to Crew in terms of how they set up. They did win it 2-0. And on the other side, Crew, their last time out on an away trip was the 3-0 loss that they had to Fleetwood. So again, it's just the combination of Crew's away form, Wickham's home form. I love them to get this win. So the -1 feels, there's nothing safe in betting, but I love that. But I do think that they're going to absolutely lay the hammer down and get their 6th straight win at home.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't nothing's for sure in betting. So
damn
that
right.
brings to the end of the show here, fellas. Quick sign off and confirmation of picks. Dylan, he is gone, but he's going with Carolina to cover the 3 -105 for a unit. Cincinnati, Baltimore over 46.5 -110 for 2 units. Atlanta, Miami under 47.5 for a unit, and then Sterling Shepard over 66.5 for 3 units. That is his max play of the day. You can follow him on Twitter at Carl's Twit. And he's always getting into fights. He always says that. Always getting into fights. He truly is. He's a very fun follow on Twitter. James, you're going with Coventry. -115 for a unit. Peterborough and the Queens over 2.5 goals. -135 for 2 units. Cincinnati.
Sorry.
Cincinnati to cover the 6.5. I wonder if you're worried about that. After Derek was talking for a unit, and then Devontae over 96.5 receiving yards, -110 for 3 units. That is your max play of the week. Is that all correct? Where can they find you?
That is correct. You can find me on Twitter at James Makes Picks. I should be posting a lot more frequently now that I got a job, so I'm settled in, and I'll be posting more now.
This man.
Oh, yeah.
Love it. All right. Derek, you're going with Ohio State to cover the 21 for 2 units. Iowa State
Correct.
cover the 7 for 2 units. Bama to cover the 25 for 2 units. And then Baltimore to cover the 6.5. That's a lot of chalk. Is that all correct? And
A lot of chalk. I don't love being on the chalk side, but you know what? Last week it seemed like all chalk was winners. So let's go with it. But yeah, you can find me Action Jackson 100 on Twitter. Give me a shout, give me a follow. Love to interact with people. So yeah, hit me up with any questions.
I love it. And make sure to check out his spike plays too. I love his spike plays when he has them. Fade, you're going with Plymouth. Sorry. I mean, English me is going Plymouth. To keep it within a draw and both teams to score for +245. Big play there. And then for a unit, then going Cincinnati over 1.5 field goals for even money, 1 unit. Colorado State to cover the 3 points for 2 units. And then Wickham to cover the 1 goal spread -135 for 2.5 units. Is that all correct? And where can they find you?
That is fantastic. You can find me at Fade My Play on Twitter. I am a volume better. So if you like action, definitely give me a shout, give me a follow. Have a bajillion picks every day, but absolutely love it. For example, the reason why I just was shouting because I had Melvin Gordon to have the first Denver TD and over 2 receptions, and he just hit that in 1 play. So I love that.
Nice. There you go.
So I'm just going to go ahead and enjoy the fact that I can at least break even if I lose every other play in the NFL today because of that. So yeah, give me a shout, give me a follow, and let's all cash all these picks. I hope no one wins and we all win together.
That's right.
I also had Melvin Gordon anytime touchdown, so that's good news for Josh. I have been your host, Josh Elliott. This has been tons of fun. Like I said, player pick of the week is Purdue to cover the 3 points -110 for 2.5 units. One of my favorite plays of the week. Thanks a lot for joining us. Let's all cash some fucking tickets, and we'll see y'all next week.